Okay, in this video series, I'm going to show you step by step how to create citations according to the APA Formatting and Style Guide 7th edition. Now, there are a lot of tools and resources available to you out there, not only showing you how to create APA citations, but actually auto-generating them for you. And these are amazing supports to help you do your work a little faster. But the thing about auto-generated citations is that they are created by a computer program, which doesn't have the ability to think critically. So sometimes there are mistakes in those citations. So even if you use these tools, and you absolutely should, you will still need to edit those citations to fix the mistakes, which means you do need to know the rules of APA. So the major tool I'm going to be referencing in this series is the OWL Purdue website. It's a lifesaver. It can be found at owl.purdue.edu, so owl as in the bird, p.purdue.edu. I've written a lot of citations in my life, so I know a lot of APA formatting standards by heart at this point, and so can you. But when I can't remember exactly how to format something, which happens a lot, the OWL Purdue website is what I always use to help me out. So I hope these videos are helpful, and let me know if you have any questions. So let's start by talking about how to format a book in APA formatting. And there's different kinds of books that we'll be covering today. We'll talk about single author books, two author books or more authored books, edited anthologies, and citing just one chapter from an edited anthology. Now, I have a big pile of books here that I'm going to use as a reference point, and you can find all this information that you need for your citation in the books themselves. But if you don't have the books in front of you, you can also find all the information I'm finding in the physical copy by just doing a quick Google search and finding the right information. So either way works. So let's start by talking about the simplest way of citing a book, which is a single author book. I have this book here called Mutual Aid by Dean Spade. And so I want to know, what is the format I'm going to use for this? So I'm going to use my trusty tool, the OWL Purdue website. This is what the home page looks like. You type in owl.purdue.edu. And then scroll down to this part that says APA Formatting and Style Guide. This is going to have the most up-to-date information in it of the most recent version of the APA guide. So if you click here, 7th edition, you have this list of options here of different kinds of sources that you might cite. You can also see, I'm just going to move my face so you can see, there's a little search bar here for you to type a specific kind of information in. But I find usually I can find what I'm looking for using this menu. So we're going to click Books. And this gives you the basic format for books. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to copy it straight into my document so that I have it as a point of reference as I'm writing my citation. So this says that in order to cite a single author book, here are the pieces of information that you need to include and how it's formatted. We have the author, listed as last name, comma, first initial. We have the year of publication in brackets with a period after it. We have the title of the work, which is italicized, and only the first letter of the title or subtitle is capitalized. The only exception is if there's a proper noun. We have the name of the publisher, and then we have the DOI if it's available. So we have this book. I have this book here. I can see that the author's name is Dean Spade. So I'm going to type Spade, comma, D with a period after it. So now I need to find out when was it published. And the way to find that out is you just go into the inside of the book, flip to this page here that has like a bunch of publishing information about it. And I can see that it was published in 2020. So I'm going to type bracket 2020. End bracket, period. And then what is the title? We're going to put that in italics with the first letter capitalized. The title of this book, italicized, is Mutual Aid, colon, and then I'm going to write a subtitle. So I'm going to use a capital letter again, Building Solidarity During This Crisis and the Next. Period. Okay, so then it says publisher. So I'm going to take my italics off because it's not italicized. And I'm going to look for the publisher name in the exact same spot as I looked for the publication year. So I can see in the inside cover here that this is published by a publishing house called Verso. So I'm just going to write that with no italics, with a period. And then it asks for something called a DOI. DOI is basically just like a series of numbers that, that helps people find this exact publication. The DOI sometimes is obvious and sometimes it's not. Don't work too hard. If it's not immediately there, you can leave it out. The DOI is there in the APA style guide if available. So if it's not staring at you, then don't worry about it. You can just leave it out. And the last thing, it's not going to be very obvious because this is a pretty short book name, but it is important to make sure that your citation has a hanging indent, which is going to be more obvious on a citation that has multiple lines. I'm just going to show you what it looks like there. Great. So that is what a one-author book, how you cite it. And a two-author book is exactly the same. The only difference is that you have to add a new author. So I'm just going to copy and paste this down here. The two-author book that we're going to be referencing is called Environmental Justice and Racism in Canada, and it has two authors. Okay, so we're going to write that first one just like we did with the one-author book. And then we're going to put a comma after the period, an ampersand, so an and then the next author's name. Both of these authors only have a first name, but sometimes people go by their middle initial as well. So if that's true, you would just add another initial like that. Let's just help Cheryl not go by the name that she goes by. So I'm going to look on the inside of my book to the first couple of pages, find out when it was published. It's published in 2008. The title of the book is Environmental Justice and Racism in Canada. And you can see that I've capitalized the word Canada because it's a proper noun, colon, an introduction. The A in un is capitalized because it's the beginning of the subtitle, but the I is not. Okay, now I need to find out who published this book. Okay, it's got a long publisher name. I can see in the very top here, you can see that it was published in 2008 by a publishing company called Emond Montgomery Publications Limited. And then, I don't know if this had a DOI. I don't think so. So I'm going to leave that out. And then, as always, make sure my indentation is hanging like that. Okay, so we've got a single author book. We've got a two author book. Sometimes books are published in a way where the book is a collection of essays or chapters or pieces written by lots of different kinds of people. And so there's usually one or two or sometimes even more people who have edited that book, which means they kind of brought it all together. They've helped people make their pieces good. They've kind of curated a good selection of books, but they didn't necessarily write the pieces in the book themselves. So this way of citing is going to look a little bit different than a book that is written by the author itself. So we're going to need to find a new format for this. Let's find it. So we have mastered the basic format for books. So we are going to find the format for an edited book. So this is what it's going to look like when what you are citing is the entire edited book. So I'm going to copy that straight into my document. The edited anthology that I have here is called Building on Critical Traditions, Adult Education and Learning in Canada. And it actually has 4 editors. So that's going to be some typing for me. So we're going to do the exact same thing as we did with the authors. We're going to write the last name of the first editor, which which is Tom Nesbitt, so Nesbitt, comma, T. And the next person's name is Susan M. Brigham, so I'm going to write, Brigham, S.M., period, comma, ampersand. Actually, this isn't true at all. When it's more than 2 authors, we only put the ampersand at the end. So we have Nesbitt, comma, T, Brigham, comma, S.M., Tabor, comma, N, ampersand, Gibb, Tara. And so they didn't write the book, they edited the book. So we're going to make sure we include this shorthand. If there's only one editor, you write it like that, editor. If there's more than one editor, like there is here though, we're going to write eds, because there's more than one. Just like with the written book, we're going to look for the year of publication. This one was published in 2013. Missing a bracket. And we have the title of the work, which is Building on Critical Traditions, Adult Education and Learning in Canada. And you'll notice that because I've been doing this for a long time, some of this stuff I just know. I just know I have to italicize a title because I've done it so many times that I've learned that. And every once in a while I make a mistake, right? I'm like, oh no, I put the ampersand in the wrong place. I shouldn't have to put an and between every single author. So it's a little bit of going back and forth between your memory and your reference point, which is the OWL Purdue website or whatever else, whatever other resource you're using. Okay, so we have the title is done, and then we just need the publisher, which is Thompson Educational Publishing. And then we're going to make sure that indent is hanging. Okay, so the last thing we're going to learn how to do is, maybe you didn't actually read this entire book. It's kind of big, but maybe you found one chapter in it that it was perfect for the research that you're doing or for the assignment that you're working on or whatever it is that you're creating a citation for. You don't have to cite the entire book. You don't want people to have to read the entire thing just to get to the specific part that was good for the work that you're doing. You want to cite just one individual chapter from this edited anthology, and there's a way to do that in APA. And that is by citing an article or chapter in an edited book. So I'm going to copy and paste that straight into here. So we have a reference point. I'm going to find this chapter called Adult Learning Theory by Patricia Cranton. So we have an author, Cranton P. The publication year will be the same thing as for the whole book, right? 2013. The title of the chapter, I just went to italicize it, but it's not italicized, is Adult Learning Theory. Just the first letter capitalized. So what we've said so far is the article was written by P. Cranton. It's called Adult Learning Theory. It was published in 2013 in this edited anthology. So we're going to say in. Now we're reversing the last name, first name. In T. Nesbitt. S.M. Brigham, N. Tabor, and T. Gibb, eds. So in the book that was edited by these 4 people, there shouldn't be a period there. And then the name of the larger anthology that it was found within. And you're going to find the range of page numbers that that particular chapter represents. So you write PP, which stands for plusieurs pages, so multiple pages. It starts on page 95, and then it goes to page 106. So that's helping the person find the exact spot in the book that they need to look in order to find this chapter. So this article in Adult Learning, called Adult Learning Theory, in this broader edited anthology on these specific pages, you're just really helping the person. And we know, because we cited this before, that the publisher is Thompson Educational Publishing. And I'm not remembering this off the top of my head, right? I'm just copying this straight from the citation kind of format that I got on the OWL Purdue website. So that is how to cite different kinds of books. Stay tuned for some more video resources to cite different kinds of resources. Just going to take a moment to get like real meta here and add one last thing, which is that I was watching back the first video that I made of me telling you how to cite books. And I was like, Kate, you made so many mistakes. For example, there should be a period right here after this little eds moment here. There should not be a period after this person's full last name right here, right? And I say this partially just to correct my mistake, but also just to say you'll make mistakes. This is like a weirdly specific formatting standard. And even when you've been doing it for years, sometimes you forget a period or you put a period in the wrong place. And that's okay, right? Just like with any learning related thing, we are all just doing our best. And just try to go easy on yourself, because some people have a brain for details and some people have a really hard time remembering details like this. And it's okay if you have a hard time remembering all of these rules. Just doing our best over here, right?